We begin this movie with Sarah loading the back of her truck. She is going out into the wilderness. Sarah is an artist and a government hydrologist. She studies how water moves through the Earth's crust. They also study how it interacts with the environment. She gets into her truck and drives away. She arrives at a ranger station. The ranger documents her journey. Sarah leaves her truck here. She will take a raft and travel on the river. She tells the ranger she will be gone for a week. The ranger waves goodbye and tells her to be careful. Then we see Sarah traveling down the river. She loves being alone in the wilderness. She wouldn't trade her life for anything. Sarah navigates her raft through the rapids. A mountain lion watches her from the banks of the river. She makes it through the rocks and rapids. She pulls her raft from the river and plans her next move. She continues her journey on foot. She begins her research as the wildlife watches. Sarah finds a spot to set up camp. She sketches pictures in her logbook. It's a full moon and Sarah turns in for the night. She has no idea that a Sasquatch is close by. As she sleeps, it walks around her campsite. The Sasquatch arranges some branches near her tent. It wants to send her a message that she is not alone. Sarah awakes to a bright and sunny day. She has a feeling that she is not alone. She stares into the tree line. Sarah has breakfast as she checks the area. The Sasquatch is sleeping not very far away from her. Then Sarah is meditating. The Sasquatch also appears to be meditating. Sarah is on the move again. She stops at a mountain pond. She takes measurements and samples. Sarah keeps getting the feeling that she's being watched. She stops and scans the area. While writing in her logbook, she gets a strange feeling. She stares into the trees. Then she can see a transparent image. It appears to be a large Sasquatch. She gets a feeling of calmness. She smiles as the image fades away. She thinks it's just her wild imagination. Now she is using a scuba mask to check on the fish. Sarah leaves the pond and continues on her journey. She reaches a very rocky riverbed. She carefully makes her way around the rocks. The Sasquatch is watching her every move. Sarah stops and removes her backpack. She shouts, "I know you out there. Whoever you are, show yourself." The Sasquatch moves behind a large boulder. Sarah shouts, "Do you want to be my friend or what?" The Sasquatch remains concealed behind the boulder. Sarah just sits down and takes a break. She shouts out again, "Come out and let's talk." The Sasquatch turns around and walks away. Sarah is disappointed and relaxes. Next we see her walking through an open area. Then she's back in the wilderness. Sarah takes a break next to a river. A hiker comes out of nowhere. He says good morning to Sarah. Sarah replies, "Have you been following me?" The hiker tells her, "No, I'm not following you." She insists that he has been stalking her. The hiker insists that he hasn't. She asked him if he has a weapon. He replies, "No, I don't. Do you?" She tells him she has a gun. They both calm down and start talking. He compliments her on her drawings of the wildlife. He asks Sarah if he can camp out overnight. She tells him only if you're not packing a weapon. He removes his backpack and shows her its contents. Sarah is satisfied that he has no weapon. She agrees to let him camp out for the night. She asks him if he snores. The camper replies, "I've been told that I don't." The next day, Sarah asked him again about him following her. He insists that it wasn't him. She replies that somebody has been following her. The hiker tells her it was probably just some animal. Sarah responds that she saw 2 footprints. So what kind of animal walks on 2 legs? The hiker just laughs and tells her again, "It wasn't me." The hiker is preparing to leave. Sarah tells him he shouldn't be going into the chosen area. She tells him about the danger of the drug cartel. She warns him they are defending their crops. He replies, "I know how to avoid them." Sarah tells him she doesn't want to see him vanish without a trace. She walks over and hands him her gun. She asks him if he knows how to use it. He replies, "Yes, I was in the Marines." He tells her that she needs it more than he does. She reluctantly takes back the gun. The hiker packs up his gear and moves on. Sarah is a little sad to see him go. She gathers her gear and heads for the next stop. There is a field office on the assigned route. An environmentalist is on duty. He is happy to see Sarah again. They enjoy each other's company. Then they say goodnight and turn out the lights. The Sasquatch followed Sarah to the site. It beats on a tree with a log to say goodnight. In the morning, the big man is waiting for Sarah. Sarah is at the cabin now updating records. She keeps hearing a thumping sound in the woods. She turns around and hollers, "Hello, is anyone there?" It happens again, and Sarah asked, "Who are you?" Finally, Sarah walks over to the tree line. She shouts, "What are you? Are you an elk?" Then she exerts her legal power. She shouts out, "I have the power to arrest you under Section 59. She also hears a howling sound along with the knocking. She gives up and walks away. That night, she's relaxing in the cabin. She hears the howling again. Sarah goes over and gets her gun. Then she walks outside to investigate. Everything is calm outside. She decides to enjoy the solitude for a while. She lays on top of the table and does some stargazing. All is silent now, and she falls asleep. In the morning, she does her daily workout. Then she chops some firewood. Sarah sets up a hammock to relax in, but it doesn't work out very well. Then she feeds her friendly squirrel. The following morning, Sarah leaves the cabin. The big man watches her drive away. While she is gone, he approaches the cabin. Sarah returns to the cabin. The big man is waiting for her. She hears the knocking coming from the woods again. That night, she eats dinner outside. Everything is so peaceful at night. Then the knocking sound starts again. She goes onto the porch with her flashlight. She scans the tree line, hoping to see something. She hears the sound of something walking in the bushes. Sarah gets spooked and goes back inside. Then the big man steps out from behind a tree. Sarah goes to bed feeling safe inside the cabin. The big man walks back into the woods. Sarah decides to get to know whoever or whatever's out there. She makes a plate of food and sets it out in plain sight. Later she goes back to check on the food. The plate has been wiped clean. Sarah is overjoyed she has made contact. She enters the experiment into her journal. That night, she sits on the front porch. The big man is watching her from the woods. Her eyes adjust to the darkness. She can see the big man looking at her. They make eye contact with each other. Sarah feels a calmness come over her. The next morning, she is feeding her pet squirrel. She notices a display of feathers and rocks on the ground. It was a deliberate arrangement. Sarah realizes that communication is possible with the big man. While she is chopping firewood, the big man watches her. Sarah is a pretty good artist. That night, she draws pictures of her new friend. The big man takes the treats that Sarah left him. She admires all her drawings of him. The next day, she drives into town for supplies. As she is returning to the cabin, she sees the big man. She stops and rolls down her window. She sees him just sitting by a tree. She waves her hand at him. She tells him she has some food if he's hungry. The big man stands up and just walks away. Sarah is disappointed and drives away. Back at the cabin, she leaves some more food for him. Then we see the big man taking a break. Sarah comes outside and sees another deliberate arrangement. She is very pleased with the progress. She walks over to where she always leaves the food. Sarah smiles when she sees the food is all gone. Then she picks up a gift left for her by the big man. Sarah is ecstatic over this achievement. Sarah and the big man are becoming good friends. She stands on their front porch sketching him. He appears to be posing for her. Then she shows him the picture. She asked him if he likes it. He appears to approve of the drawing. Sarah smiles as the big man slowly walks away. That night, she writes about the encounter in her journal. She feels a magical bond between the two of them. This will be her secret to protect the big man. The next day, Sarah continues her research. She walks through the wilderness all alone. The big man watches over her to keep her safe. If you enjoyed watching this condensed version of the movie Letters from the Big Man, please click the subscribe and like buttons and also leave a comment. And also thanks for watching.